A bright, elegant restaurant interior with warm chandelier lighting. A blonde female waitress wearing a white short-sleeve blouse and a dark blue apron with a red skirt is leaning forward, smiling gently as she feeds a small curly-haired girl sitting at the table. The little girl, wearing a pink dress, is smiling happily while taking a bite from the spoon. A well-dressed man in a blue suit stands behind them with folded arms, watching the scene with a pleasant expression. Other diners sit in a softly blurred background. Clean table setting with a plate, cutlery, and a glass in front of the child. High quality, cinematic, warm tones, sharp focus, realistic lighting. No text. The little girl's eyes lit up as the waitress gently encouraged her to try a bite, her laughter soft and sincere. The CEO watched from across the room, quietly amazed at the way she handled the moment. It wasn't just the kindness, it was the warmth, the way she seemed to understand a child without a word being spoken. In that instant, he realized this was someone different, someone who didn't belong to the high-powered world he lived in, yet somehow felt like she had stepped right into it. The waitress, unaware of the CEO's attention, moved gracefully between tables, attending to customers with patience and charm, but there was more to her than met the eye. Her life had been far from easy long hours, bills to pay, and dreams she barely let herself whisper out loud. Yet here she was, giving her heart in small, unnoticed ways. The CEO glanced at his daughter, who seemed completely enchanted, and then back at the waitress. He couldn't shake the feeling that tonight was more than just a simple blind date. Something was unfolding, something he couldn't predict. And for the first time in years, he felt a mixture of excitement and unease. Who was this young woman really? And why did she feel like the missing piece he hadn't known he was searching for? As the night went on, the blind date finally arrived, and the little girl's nervous smile met a polite, shy boy who seemed unsure of how to start a conversation. The waitress lingered nearby, checking in discreetly, offering gentle smiles and small reassurances that made the girl feel comfortable. The CEO watched it all, feeling protective yet strangely drawn to the woman who had unknowingly captured his attention. He couldn't tell if it was her kindness or the way she made his daughter feel safe that had him unsettled. Meanwhile, the waitress had her own thoughts spinning. She had seen wealthy people every day, but something about this father and daughter felt different. The father carried a quiet loneliness, a weight she couldn't ignore, even as she focused on her work. She tried to stay professional, yet every small interaction laughing with the child, helping her with her menu made her heart race in ways she hadn't expected. She couldn't figure out why this night felt so heavy with possibility. Across the table, the CEO's mind kept wandering. Questions filled his head. Was it foolish to feel this way about someone he barely knew? Could he allow himself to hope, even slightly, when he had promised himself years ago to focus only on his daughter and work? And most importantly, what if this fleeting connection was more than it seemed? The tension built quietly, unspoken but powerful, as the night carried on, leaving everyone on edge and wondering what would happen next. The restaurant hummed with quiet conversations, but at the CEO's table, the air seemed charged, almost electric. His daughter was laughing softly at a joke from her blind date, but his eyes kept drifting back to the waitress. She moved with effortless grace, refilling drinks, offering little smiles, and somehow, with each gesture, pulling him further into a world he hadn't realized he was missing. The waitress noticed the father watching her, but didn't let it distract her. Yet inside, she felt a strange pull, a curiosity she couldn't explain. There was something about the way he observed, the quiet intensity in his eyes, that unsettled her even as it intrigued her. She tried to focus on her job, but small moments, the way he offered his daughter a reassuring smile, the gentle tone when he spoke made her heart skip. Suddenly, the blind date boy, eager to impress, spilled his drink across the table. The little girl squealed in surprise, and the waitress rushed over instinctively, grabbing napkins and calming both children. The CEO's chest tightened as he watched her move, so composed, so caring. For the first time in years, he felt completely off guard. In that moment, everyone at the table sensed it. Something was about to shift, something far bigger than a spilled drink or a first date. Questions raced through the CEO's mind. Could he really risk his heart? And what secret was this young waitress hiding that had him so captivated? The tension hung thick in the air, leaving the night poised on the edge of a moment that could change everything. Just as the CEO took a deep breath, trying to steady himself, the restaurant's door opened again, and a familiar face stepped in, a business associate he hadn't seen in years. Someone tied to a complicated deal that had nearly ruined him once before. His stomach sank, and the tension in his chest tightened. He knew that if this person noticed him, it could bring back old troubles he had worked so hard to leave behind. The waitress, unaware of the sudden shift in the CEO's demeanor, continued helping his daughter, laughing gently at a small joke, but then she caught sight of the man entering, and her own expression changed subtly. There was recognition in her eyes, a flicker of worry that she quickly masked. Suddenly, the night felt heavier, charged with unspoken histories and hidden connections. The little girl, oblivious to the adult's silent tension, reached for her dessert, her laughter masking the growing storm. The CEO glanced between his daughter and the waitress, realizing that tonight's blind date was no longer just about first impressions. It was entangled with the past, secrets, and choices that could unravel everything. Every glance, every word now carried weight. Could the young waitress, who had already stolen his heart with kindness, be tied to complications he wasn't ready to face? The night teetered on a knife's edge, suspense building with every passing second, leaving everyone, especially the CEO, unsure of what would happen next. The tension in the restaurant snapped in an instant when the waitress stepped forward, her calm voice carrying over the murmurs. She introduced herself not only to the CEO but also to the unexpected visitor, revealing that she had once worked closely with him during a project that had gone wrong years ago. The CEO's heart raced. He realized that the woman who had quietly stolen his attention all night was more than just kind and caring. She was connected to a part of his past he had tried to forget, but instead of conflict, her honesty broke the ice. She explained the circumstances of the past, showing integrity and courage, and the old business associate, seeing her sincerity, softened. The CEO watched in awe, feeling admiration and gratitude, his respect for her growing even stronger. His daughter, sensing the shift, beamed at the waitress, clearly feeling safe and happy in that moment. Something clicked for the CEO. He didn't have to choose between protecting his daughter and opening his heart. The waitress had shown him that vulnerability could coexist with strength, that love could come from the most unexpected places. Just as he was about to step forward and speak, the waitress reached for a folded envelope she had tucked in her apron. With a nervous smile, she handed it to him, and inside was a simple note. "I hope this is just the beginning." The CEO's eyes widened. He realized the story wasn't over, yet tonight had changed everything. But destiny had one more surprise waiting. The CEO looked down at the note, a smile slowly spreading across his face. His daughter tugged at his sleeve, her eyes sparkling, and he realized that the night had given him more than just a memorable first date for her. It had opened a door he hadn't dared to knock on in years. The waitress, standing quietly beside them, gave a small, encouraging smile, and he felt a warmth that went beyond gratitude. As the restaurant settled back into its gentle hum, the CEO introduced himself properly to the young woman, and conversation flowed naturally, free of pretense. He shared a few stories about his daughter, laughing at her small quirks, while she responded with her own candid tales, showing the kindness and intelligence that had captivated him from the start. The old tensions from the past had dissolved, replaced with a sense of possibility and trust. By the end of the evening, the CEO walked out with his daughter and the waitress waved, leaving a promise of more encounters to come. The night had been about so much more than a blind date. It had reminded him that love, patience, and small acts of kindness could transform lives. And as the city lights shimmered around them, he knew this was just the beginning of a new chapter for both their hearts.